This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we are celebrating a second national championship for the women's rowing team. All-American Charlie Fay got selected in the Major League Lacrosse Draft on Sunday. We speak with his new head coach. Plus, the track and field teams wrapped up their seasons with an impressive showing at the NCAA championships. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The women's rowing team traveled to West Windsor, New Jersey last week, and they returned to Bates with their second national championship in the last 3 years. The first and second varsity eights won their respective heats on Friday. Then on Saturday, the second varsity eight won its grand final with an NCAA championship's record time of 6 minutes, 48.332 seconds, earning 12 points toward the team title. Wellesley came in second, and Williams came in third. This proved to be crucial as the Bobcat first varsity eight finished second to Williams in its grand final, earning 27 points. When the points from both races were added up, the Bobcats secured the national title by 1 point over the Eefs, 39-38. Senior captain Molly Pritz was in the first varsity eight boat in the stroke position. The first varsity eight crew didn't know Bates had won the team title until they heard it over the loudspeakers.
The last time that this happened, it was everyone on shore who was screaming and letting us know we actually won. I was one of those people on shore. And then this time, we're just kind of rowing back and nobody's saying anything. It's pretty quiet, so I'm thinking that didn't happen. I had faith that the 2B had won, but I didn't know how the rest of the points had gone. So we're listening, and I'm hearing the Jumbotron, and the announcer, looking at the Jumbotron and hearing the announcer who's saying the places and points, but she's saying them in reverse order, as makes sense. But I couldn't hear everything super clearly until I heard, I knew I'd heard every other team except for ours when it got to second place, and then they announced second, and I realized that left us for first, and Kate just jumped into I stopped rowing apparently, and Kate just jumped into my arms, and then once we rowed past the rest of our teammates, and we were really sure. I kept on questioning. I was like, are we really sure? Are we really sure? And when we rowed past them at the 500-meter mark, at that point, they're screaming, we did it, and yeah.
Well, let's talk about the race. I mean, obviously it was a tight, competitive race. Williams and I believe it was you guys, and then I think it was Ithaca or Wellesley. One that was giving you a push, right?
Yeah, we were pretty much up on Ithaca the whole time, and Wellesley gave us a push in the final, about 500 meters, I think. And honestly, we left everything out there, so that's the most I can ask for in my final race.
When you cross the finish line, can you tell whether you're second or first or third? Like, how soon do you know what you finished?
I knew we didn't get Williams, just based on what Kate was calling throughout the race. I could tell, since she wasn't focusing too much on Wellesley, that they weren't too much of a threat, that she could see the meters going by, and she knew that they weren't too big of a threat, and it was just us making a push at Williams. So I knew we were in second when we crossed, just kind of based on my peripheries. Yeah.
How cool was it to have everyone greet you on the shore when you came back?
Oh, it was so exciting, because this is so much more than a victory for those of us that got to be on the water today. This is for everyone. I was the happiest to see my first coxswain at Bates, who was here and hasn't been at one of these since her senior year, which was my freshman year. So it just means a lot to have all that support, and the friends and family, and one alum from I think 02 was here with her kids and her dog, and just cheering us on as we walked past like we were in a parade. It's really great.
Nice. How does this compare to 2 years ago?
Just based on the setting, it feels entirely different. That was the first national championship for the school. This is the second, and we own both of them, so that's pretty pretty awesome. Nobody can take that away from us. But for me, I'm was hungry for more. I wanted to sweep, and we didn't. We came away with this awesome victory with a really, really young team, and this is just setting them up really well for the next 4 years when I'll be on shore and screaming my heart out. So,
Graduating tomorrow, thoughts?
Got a long bus ride ahead of us. It'll be a fun bus ride, but yeah, just kind of one thing at a time, trying to take in every moment here first, and then it'll be really exciting to be back with everyone on campus and say our final goodbyes there. We said a lot of goodbyes today, so a lot of mix of emotions, but it's a great weekend.
You going to keep rowing competitively, recreationally? You done?
Certainly not competitively. I would really like to continue coaching in some capacity, which I've been doing for a while. Rowing recreationally, yeah, but I think I should take some time just to center my body again and recover from a long haul of rowing. So, yeah, I would really like to stay involved with the sport as much as I can.
Senior captain Abby Bierman served as the coxswain for the second varsity 8 for the third consecutive year, winning yet another gold medal in the process. This marks the fourth straight year the Bates second varsity 8 has won a gold medal at the NCAA championships.
We knew Wellesley was going to give us a fight, so we were ready to get a beat up on a little bit in the first 500 and then just move from there. So it went, yeah, pretty much exactly what we imagined and how we planned, so that's cool.
Well, I saw Wellesley's prelim time was pretty fast.
Yeah.
I assume you saw that also.
We did, yeah. We were pretty fine with that. We cruised through the second 1K of our heat, so we knew we had more in us. So we weren't super worried about that, but we knew they would be right there with us. They've been fighting us all season and getting faster every time, so it's been really fun to be able to race them.
All right, take us through watching the first varsity 8 race and doing the math in your head for the second time in 3 years.
Yeah, wow. So we're watching. Obviously, we want them to win. Like, who doesn't, right? Like, somebody has to get Williams. But we're watching. Wellesley puts up this fight in the last 500 that almost gets them. They put up an even bigger fight. We're watching. My bow seat, Alex Alazar, turns around and is like, I can't watch anymore. And I'm just like, we're all like, ooh. And they finish, and we whip our heads around to our coaching staff, and we were kind of like, did we? Like, can you confirm? And they like nodded, and we lost it then. We were like, yes, like totally lost it. And then ran down to the beach and the pier just to make sure we could get that 1B as soon as possible. So it was good.
Yeah, Mason said that Peter knew right away.
Oh, yeah. We turned around, he's there nodding. He's there nodding and smiling. Yeah.
And then how cool is it to be able to, greet the varsity 8 kind of as they rode by that pier over there?
It was pretty great. It was pretty funny because we could see them like from 500 away kind of turning and then coming up, and we're like, come on, because we don't know if they know. And then all of a sudden they stop rowing, and we were like, oh my God, are they finding out? And then hands go up and water's being splashed. We're like, they found out. And then we're just like waiting for them to come back, being like, come on, we want to celebrate with you. So it was pretty funny.
Awesome. Now, we talked about this before, but you're graduating, now tomorrow. What does that mean?
Wow. It means we have to rush back right now. But, I mean, it means that the team gets to come back today, so they'll all be there, and it's pretty amazing to be able to go back. The baccalaureate ceremony is today, and we heard that they're going to announce that we won, which is just, unbelievable because it echoes what happened when we were sophomores looking up to those seniors, which we were felt so bad they couldn't make it to graduation. So it's a cool mirror for us there.
Yeah, so, this is similar to what happened 2 years ago. How do they compare in your mind?
Honestly, they're just both so different, such different crews, such different teams. I think they both show, how much you need that depth of the team. As you guys might have seen, the 3V, a lot of 3V rowers here, 4 rowers here, and alum and everything. It's just the depth of the team is what got us both this year and 2 years ago. So, yeah.
Great. Well, any other thoughts on, being a 2-time national champion, and if you plan to be a coxswain competitively in the future or whatnot?
I haven't ever planned it right now, but this is my team. It's going to be hard to say goodbye, so that's it, really.
Sunday brought big news from the world of Bates men's lacrosse. Not only was senior captain and first-team All-American Kyle Weber named the Division III Midfielder of the Year, But senior captain and first-team All-American Charlie Fay was selected by the Boston Cannons with the 59th overall pick in the Major League Lacrosse Draft. Fay's new head coach tells us more about the Cannons, Fay, and Major League Lacrosse.
We're joined on the Bates Bobcast by the head coach of the Boston Cannons, Sean Quirk, to talk about the recent Major League Lacrosse Draft, and the Cannons selected Bates All-American Charlie Fay with the 59th overall pick in the draft. And Coach Quirk, first of all, what about Charlie stuck out to you personally that made him a player you guys wanted to draft?
Yeah, Aaron, it's great to be on. I've known Charlie for a long time, actually, going back to his high school days, him playing in high school, and he was always a tremendous athlete. And with his size and his scoring ability, his passing ability, he really made himself an attractive player in this draft. There were several coaches of other teams that, knew of him and were talking about him on draft day.
Yeah, I feel like the lacrosse world is very tight in terms of you guys kind of everyone knows everyone else, basically. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, for the most part. The game certainly, as you know, is growing exponentially, but it's still one of those sports that's small enough where, that everyone knows each other for the most part, which is great.
Absolutely. Now, you were the head coach at Endicott from 1998 through 2015. You're now the associate director of athletics over there at Endicott, obviously Division III program with the men's lacrosse team. So what have you noticed in terms of the similarities and differences between, Division III lacrosse, which has some very, high-level talent, as we've seen, and, Major League Lacrosse, and what adjustments those players typically have to make, maybe like the biggest adjustment you've noticed?
It's interesting because, like any other professional sport, you see mostly Division I players competing at the pro level, and a few Division II and a few Division III players. But I think in time, Division III lacrosse has gotten really strong, and it speaks volumes of the sport, the growth, and players like Charlie Fay can certainly compete at that next level. A young man years back, Mike Stone, who played at Middlebury, who's in the NESCAC conference as well. He became an MLL All-Star for the Boston Cannons and the New York Lizards, had a team, world team tryout with Team USA. So those Division III players are out there, and, we try to do our homework as much as we can on every player, Division I, II, and III, but certainly they're out there in Division III, which is great to see.
You said you've known Charlie for a while. Have you gotten a chance to see him play recently in person?
Yeah, so ironically enough, my older brother played at University of New Hampshire when John Fay, Charlie's father, was an assistant coach there. So I've known the Fay family for a long time, and I got a chance to see Charlie play in high school, as I mentioned, because our goalie at Endicott when I was coaching here, Cam Bell, who's actually now on the Cannons, played with Charlie. And then I was really interested in Charlie's college career, just knowing him a little bit during his younger years. So I watched, quite a few Bates games. To be honest, I watched probably more this year than in the past because, one, they had a really good team, and then, two, I was really intrigued by what Charlie was doing and thought that he may be able to play at the next level.
Terrific. Now, you guys are in the middle of your season already. You're already 5 games in. So these recent draft picks, including Charlie, do they come in right away and try to compete, for playing time and spots on the roster? Or how does that work for you guys?
Right. So we're 5 games in right now. Some teams are 5 or 6 games in as well. So, yes, the players that we just drafted and picked up, they can start to practice with us on Friday. And then if we are to activate those players, we need to do so by Friday. And then they could dress as early as our Saturday game against Denver. For us, we'll probably take a look more at the guys that we drafted in practice this next week and then make decisions for the following week on who we'd potentially dress and that sort of thing.
Sure, absolutely. And I know Major League Lacrosse, you guys play on weekends, and everyone else, everyone in that league probably has other jobs and whatnot, basically, right outside of that. So how do you guys balance that, the commitment to lacrosse, the commitment to other careers, either related to lacrosse or outside of it?
It's amazing, and that's one of the really, fun parts of the league. It's also frustrating at times. Is that these men do, many of them have another full-time job. More and more of them are doing full-time things within lacrosse, but you look at a guy like Matt Landis on our team, and I could go down the list. He's one of the top defensemen in the world, but he's got a finance job in New York City. And then he comes out here on the weekends or wherever we're playing and gets there and is in great shape physically, and he gets himself dialed in mentally. So it's really interesting from that perspective, the league, that a lot of these guys are working other full-time jobs and committing themselves as well as to being professional athletes.
The Boston Cannons, you guys play at Harvard Stadium, correct? What's the environment like for a home game if some Bates alums and supporters want to come see Charlie play?
Yeah, they should get out there. Boston, we play at Harvard, which is a nostalgic Coliseum atmosphere. We draw great crowds, anywhere really, I think, between 8,000 and 12,000 people at a game.
Nice.
So the environment is awesome for our team. Our front office does an amazing job of marketing the franchise, and it's a great place to be, Boston.
What are some maybe differences people might notice between Major League Lacrosse and college lacrosse, just from a viewer perspective?
Certainly the tempo, the speed of the game is a bit faster. There's a 60-second shot clock, so at the start of every possession is a 60-second shot clock. And the way that shot clock resets is either by a goalie save or hitting the pipes. And then there's a 2-point arc, which is 16 yards out from the goal, and players can hit a 2-pointer. So swings in the game of professional lacrosse are there. If a team is up by 6 or 7 goals, that's really not a comfortable lead at all in Major League Lacrosse because of the shot clock and the 2-pointer.
Well, yeah, we've seen Charlie score a number of goals from that far out, so maybe he can help you out in that area. Well, Coach, any other thoughts on Charlie joining the Cannons and what your thoughts are on his potential at the next level?
We're just super excited to get Charlie out there and getting he played with some really, really talented players and great young men at Bates. And I think for Charlie and most of these guys, they're playing at even that next level with even better talent and better athletes. So I'm really excited to see him in that arena to see what he can do, and we're sure that he's going to be really successful with us.
All right. Well, Coach Quirk, thanks so much for joining us, and I know everyone here at Bates is looking forward to following Charlie's career here with the Cannons starting shortly, it sounds like. Thanks so much again.
Thank you, Aaron.
The track and field teams competed at the NCAA Outdoor Championships over the weekend. Sophomore Tyler Harrington led the way on the men's side, finishing 13th in the javelin throw. Other strong performances included senior captain Patrick Griffin finishing 14th in the 800 meters and junior Adedire Fakaridi taking 17th in the hammer throw. The women's team turned in a remarkable performance, finishing 11th out of 149 schools. There were All-America finishes left and right for Bates. Junior Sally Cisse finished second in the triple jump with a new school record of 40 feet, 9.5 inches. Senior captain Allie Hill finished third in the 100-meter hurdles. Senior captain Jess Wilson broke the school record in the 1,500 meters and finished fourth, then came back a few hours later to take seventh in the 5,000 meters. Sophomore Aiden Eichhoff also delivered an All-America performance, finishing eighth in the 800 meters. Cisse, Hill, and Eichhoff hopped on the phone to recap nationals.
Sally, we'll start with you in that triple jump. Second place, new school record. It all came together. I know you weren't too happy after indoors, even though you got an All-American finish, but you must be much more happy this time around, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It seems like for this time around, everything seemed to fall in place. Right before I competed, I was actually talking to Jess, and she asked me how I felt, and I was like, I think I'm ready. It felt really different. My runway felt really fast. I felt really strong. So I'm really happy about how it finished, how it ended up.
Excellent. Then, Allie, I know you got third place there in the 100-meter hurdles. I understand you clipped a hurdle, but you were able to still get third. So how did you recover after you felt your leg touch that hurdle, and how are you able to keep going there so quickly?
Yeah, so it was a tough race because I felt great, and I kind of felt like indoor. It's pretty much the fastest I've ever been in outdoor, definitely. And so then when I hit that seventh hurdle, I was in first place, and then I I saw the finish line and I knew that I could finish, but it pretty much lost. I took all my momentum away and kind of put me off balance. But, so it was kind of disappointing to get third because I knew that I could have gotten first. But I think I'm just really happy that I could have finished because I know indoor obviously went the opposite way. So I feel lucky to finish.
You had graduation the next day, so obviously you made the flight, and so how'd graduation go?
Yeah, it went great. We didn't get much sleep, so it was a long day, but it went well. It was super hot, so it was great to have nice weather. I didn't trip, and I got my diploma, and Clayton actually said she's been watching us. Like, when she shook my hand, she's like, I've been watching you guys, so that was kind of special to have something said from Clayton while I'm getting my diploma.
Nice. And Jess Wilson, not on the conference call here with us, but because she's on vacation, obviously a well-deserved vacation after graduation. But Allie, as a fellow senior, how cool is it to see Jess do so well, getting 4th in the 1,500, breaking that school record, and then 7th in the 5,000 meters?
That was amazing. I mean, anyone that has to do a double, just trying to survive the race, I would say, not that I'm a distance runner, but even placing in both of them, I think, is a phenomenal feat. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there that have the basically bravery and tenacity to finish that. And she came out hard, and she got the school record in the 1,500, which she's been going for. And I don't think there's a better way that she could have gone out. And I know she's so happy to come back with 2 All-American trophies. And out of anyone, she deserves it because she works so hard. And, she deserves that vacation right now.
Absolutely. Aiden Eichhoff joined us as well, 8th in the 800 meters. You were also part of the 4x400 relay team with Allie as well, getting 9th place there, but 8th in the 800 meters. So this individual event you've been working on for quite a while now with the track team, so obviously it's coming together pretty nicely for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it has come together, and it did take 2 full years of training to get there, and I was really happy to see it all work out.
How'd the race go in general? Just kind of did it go as planned for you in terms of what you were hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, actually, there's a pretty stark difference between my prelim race and my final race in terms of going as planned. I went into the prelim knowing that I was going up against 20 other very, very fast and competitive women. So I knew that I would have to basically run either my PR or a new PR to qualify for finals. And top 2 in each heat went, and I was able to finish 2nd in my heat with a new PR as well. So that was really, really cool. And then going into finals the next day was difficult. My legs definitely felt it. And I knew I just kind of had to hold on, and I was able to and slid into that 8th place position.
And Sally, you got to obviously watch a lot of the events leading up to your event, the triple jump there on Saturday. So what was it like to basically wait around for 2 days before you did anything in terms of actually competing?
Well, I'm always excited to sit back for the first 2 days and watch everyone because it gives me a chance to take everything, like my environment in, and like it gives me a chance to be calm, like the calm before the storm. I don't know how to explain it, but it also gets me pumped up seeing everyone else compete so well and to work so hard. So I think they all together they got me going, and I'm excited about that.
Excellent. And then Allie Hill, obviously we talked about graduation. So what's next? What's your next plans? What's next for you?
Well, right now I'm actually packing up my room and about to getting in the car. So I think right now I'm gonna have the rest of the week off, and then I'm interning in Augusta. I'm gonna waitress, and then hopefully after that travel for a little bit because I was pretty busy with sports through my college career, and I didn't get to go abroad. So I think I want to have that experience at some point.
Aiden, so heading into the fall, I assume you'll be running cross country again, right? Because you had a lot of success in that sport as well.
Yeah, I actually will be doing cross country, and then similar to Allie, I'll be taking at least a couple weeks off after 3 seasons of running, and then Jay said that she would be in touch with training plans soon, so I'll start that up and hit the ground running.
Nice. And then Sally, next year, is it going to be your senior year? I know you mentioned before that you want to do some more events. So what's in your mind in terms of your plan for next year, at least at the moment, perhaps? Obviously, we know things can change.
I have no idea, but by the end of this season, this season I've been doing a lot of running. So like, I'm looking forward to seeing how strong I'll be going into the next season, because I think right now this is the strongest I've been, in my entire career. So I'm excited to see what the training will do for me next year, but maybe some running. I have no idea. But
400.
Maybe the 400. I don't know. I want to start with 200, but we'll see.
Yeah, lots of possibilities, certainly. Well, let's wrap this up with Allie Hill here, our senior on the interview. In terms of your final thoughts about your career at Bates, I know you obviously did soccer, indoor and outdoor track, and what it's meant to you and what you've learned, throughout your time here at Bates in general.
It's meant a lot to me. I mean, like I said earlier, going into my freshman year, I really didn't think that I would be sticking with track at all. I kind of considered it my secondary sport. But definitely coming out of Bates, I consider it my primary. And I think that really just has to do with, like, the amazing coaching staff and that have really just, like, built us up as athletes. And I wouldn't be the athlete I am today without them. And I think really that goes to show Bates in general, as a D3 athlete, I think it's important. Like, it takes a lot of effort to get to where we are. Nothing's easy. And I think I kind of learned that, and definitely going through all the ups and downs of nationals, I realized, nothing's handed to you, and I think it will set me up nicely for the real world because I have that competitive spirit and that hardworking, gut feeling. So I think it will set me up nicely, and I have to thank Bates for that because they really helped me out.
Outstanding. Well, All-Americans, Allie Hill, Sally Cisse, Aiden Eichhoff, thanks so much for joining us here on the Bobcast. Congrats again on your great seasons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Allie.
Bye, Sally. I'll miss you.
Miss you.
Junior Ben Rosen competed at the NCAA Men's Singles Championships last week. He came up against a tough opponent in the first round, third seed Nikolai Parody from Claremont McKenna Scripps. Rosen battled, falling 6-4 in the first set before coming back to win the second set 6-4. However, Parody prevailed in the third set 6-3. Parody would go on to be the national runner-up at the NCAA Singles Championships. To wrap up the last episode of the Bobcast until the fall, we chat with outgoing Bates Director of Athletics Kevin McHugh. He is headed back to his home state of New Jersey to become the new Director of Athletics at Stockton University.
Busy weekend for you. You were in Ohio on one day, and the next day you were in New Jersey. What was it like to watch these athletes compete here at Bates College for one final time, basically, because you're moving on to Stockton?
Well, that's probably one of the greatest pleasures I've had over the time that I've been here is the opportunity to watch our athletes compete. And, at any level, but when they're at a national championship, it's obviously it's even more heightened and more pronounced. And it's also great because I don't often get a chance to kind of hang out with the athletes, but when you're at something particularly like track, where there's some time in between, you get a chance not only to watch them perform, but also just to sort of kind of hang a little bit with the coaches, with the athletes. And even the same thing, being at rowing, a day later, lucky enough to have a coach that gets me a pass to the, to the area where the teams are staged and the same opportunity to be around the athletes while they're prepping, while they're getting ready for competition, and just to get a little insight. And I know you've had some of that too when you've done your stories on them. But that background stuff, in addition to again watching them compete and obviously do well, that's really special.
Absolutely, and obviously rowing got the national championship. Where were you watching the grand final for the first varsity 8? When did you know that they'd won it all? Because I know we had to do the math in our heads again this year.
Yeah, I didn't know they had won. I had kind of tried to go down by the gazebo that was out on the water and then run back. So I was at the gazebo to sort of see the teams come by and then try and run back to the video board in order to see the finish. And they were pretty certain this time around. Andrell, I think, had been in charge of the math, and she said right away, we won, and Peter said, and so there wasn't the sort of the doubt that there was a couple years ago when we hadn't really been in that situation. And it was basically the same sort of scenario in terms of the point spread and everything. So it was just, and everybody obviously erupted at that point. So we were pretty sure.
Right, because you got to witness the second verse D8 and the coaches react, right?
Yep. Yeah. All the kids were there and the coaches, and there was a lot of screaming and it's great. I mean, that's obviously that's some of the highlight moments of being in sports.
Right, and how cool is it for you as an athletic director to go out here at Bates of the final event being the national championship?
I can't tell you how cool it is. I've thought the same thing, that it was a pretty appropriate way to finish up, and couldn't have asked for more. So
you started here in 2007. What are some highlights, big picture maybe, that you're most proud of your time here at Bates?
Yeah, I think first off, definitely sort of bigger picture, maybe a little fuzzier, but I just think the fact that I think we created something really special in terms of what we have as a department here, and it's a combination of being a team, but also being a family. It's an attitude where people care about and support each other, and I think that was created over time, and I think again that's one of the things that I'll always bring with me is what kind of a special type of situation we had. I think combined with that. I think we changed the culture a little bit, and I think, heightened maybe some the pride in Bates athletics. Certainly that had to do with some competitive successes, but again, I think it had to do with creating, like I say, this kind of this feeling. And I think at the end of the day, I guess I'm pretty proud of the fact that I think we achieved beyond our means to provide a really good experience for our students, student athletes certainly, but students generally, for our staff, and for the campus community. And so, I could point to specific things about, again, certain, victories and accomplishments in that regard, or facilities or fundraising. But I think those things, like you said, the sort of the bigger picture things, I'll take those as well.
And then, obviously, I mean, everyone learns lessons throughout their careers and whatnot, and you've been Division III for a long time, but what lessons are you going to take from your time here at Bates you're going to apply to your time maybe you're thinking at Stockton?
I don't know that I would put my finger on a particular lesson. I think probably the longer you've been around, the more, particularly in Division III, because it is so varied, I think it's more a sense of, kind of expecting the unexpected, trying to be ready to roll with whatever it comes down. That change always comes, always happens, and you got to learn to adjust. And I think there's some things that are always constant through that. The things we just talked about, the student athlete experience, the camaraderie with coaches and things like that. I think those stay constant. I don't know that I could point back and say, I learned specifically X, and X. I think it's more just a cumulative sort of sense of, again, being able to kind of, be as organized as possible, but always trying to prepare for the thing that you don't expect. And I think, even more so in D3, that tends to happen.
Well, mentioning D3, I mean, you've been a D3 guy, basically. What makes this such a special level to be at for you as an athletic director? I
think it's the purity, if you will. I really think the overused term of student athlete definitely applies, and it's a shame because I do think that's almost become now a bad word in athletics. It's been so overused, and particularly it does get painted at the Division I level, which I think is a whole different student athlete, if you will. And so, again, when you're around students at this level that want to compete at the very highest level that they can, I think they put in the same mental energy and it may be not the same amount of time, but they're as passionate about their sport as any level. But they also have it in balance with being a good student, with being someone that's involved in the campus, the life of the campus, and that's essentially the components of Division III that sets it apart. And so, I think I relate to that from my own personal experience. Even though I went to a Division I school, because it was an Ivy school, it had that same kind of notion of trying to balance the academic and the athletic, and trying to succeed to the degree possible in both of those. And so that for me has been real joy of being in Division III.
Sure, absolutely. And then obviously you've gotten a chance, I'm sure, to talk to many of the coaches during the spring season as kind of your time here winds down, your prepare tradition to Stockton. What have been some of the things you talked to the coaches about as you exit here, basically?
I think our conversations really has been about, finishing up strong, about continuing what we've continued, about also, the fact that, as cliched as it is, things happen and they happen for a reason. And you just like we tell our athletes, you have to kind of deal with things as they come along and move to the next chapter. And I think, some of the conversation has been about, okay, let's focus on, what you have to do moving forward, not on me, not being here type of thing and me leaving or whatever. And so it's been more conversations around, getting them sort of to think more about that aspect. I think, I think it's, people have, been appreciative of the role that I've played here and want to talk about that, want to demonstrate that. And again, I really am grateful for that. I appreciate that. But again, I'm also trying to refocus them on saying, okay, that ship has already sailed. Now let's start looking ahead again to what you need to do going forward.
Great. Well, this is the last Bobcast of the year. Any final thoughts from you on the season this past year and your time at Bates you want to share?
No, first of all, I think you've done a phenomenal job with the Bobcast, and I know you weren't putting in a pitch for that, but I get more positive comments from alums and parents and people that I see, and so this has been really just a great addition to what we do with our programs. Yeah, just I think it's been a terrific year. I'm kind of waiting around till June 1st when the Directors' Cups announcements come out, because I think we're sitting in like 31st place, and the highest we've ever been is 27th. And when you add in the rowing points and track points and things, I think we're going to jump up pretty well. And again, on top of winning the championship, having the highest finish ever in 10 years, or ever actually since they started a Directors' Cup, I think would be kind of a nice way to finish up. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking right now.
Sounds good. Yeah, the Directors' Cup obviously measuring the success throughout all of athletics. Right. 31 sports here at Bates. Kevin McHugh, you've been leading them for the last 10 years. We'll be missing you. Good luck there at Stockton. Appreciate your time here on the Bobcast.
Thanks very much.
Jason Fine is taking over as the new Director of Athletics at Bates starting July 1. We'll be sure to sit down with him when he arrives on campus. For now, thanks for listening all school year to the Bates Bobcast.